So this is something I've had in the works for a very long time now. Like, God, all the way. I started doing this. Um, I started the idea process behind this all the way back last season. It was supposed to be the finale to last season, but due to other story beats and stuff like that, I didn't feel the placement was very well, so I saved it till this season, and it's been delayed for a couple months. It was supposed to be one of the first videos released, but it is taking longer than expected to get through what this is about, and I wanted to do a thorough one, other than, well, as we'll explain when we go through the seasons. Um, yeah, this is a Smallville retrospective, going through a lot of different pieces of Smallville. I'm also kind of glad that I had to wait on this one because, well, you'll see that in the bonus section. To start off with, we are going to go through seasons 1 through 4. Now, seasons 1 through 3, I did not watch when I was going back. I tried, but I could only get through a couple episodes of each season. Seasons 1 through 3 are hard for me to hold my interest when I like a lot more of the comic booky elements of this source material. It was very hard for me to stay focused with the first 3 seasons, and a little bit of that of season 4, which is why I've kind of lumped it in. We're going to be talking more about season 4 in just a second, but I wanted to give my disclaimers of the first 3 seasons because a lot of it did focus on the college drama elements. It just didn't hook me. Great performances though, and I do get a lot of references in later seasons, not only just, because I watched a couple episodes, but I also did watch this show a lot when I was younger. So knowing a lot of it, it just kind of seems meh. Um, Especially with certain characters, and a lot of the characters from the first 3 seasons kind of fizzle out, and become less and less important as the show goes on. So it's kind of hard for my interest to stay there. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about the first 3 seasons. Season 4. Season 4 is where we get the introduction, if I remember right. That could be season 5. No, it was season 4 was the introduction of Lois Lane. Season 5 was when they started utilizing her a lot more. I had to stop and think about it. And yeah, it's starting to introduce a lot more of the iconic Superman elements and starting to show Lex's turn to evil. But it still has some sort of suspense with Superman still trying to be friends with him. We also get the introduction of, I think Green Arrow starts in that season. He doesn't become a mainstay for a lot longer, but yeah. Overall, season 4, it's very good, and it starts introducing a lot more of the Superman elements, but it runs into the problem of a lot of different elements kind of fall flat in later seasons, so a lot of the payoff isn't really there, which is honestly one of my main problems with the first couple of seasons of the show. We do get our first, no, yeah, most of the characters I think of with the show. Granted, I wasn't quite born till like late into season 4. So when I think of the show, I do think of season 5 and above. But season 4, very good. It's still amazing to watch. It's the one the season 4 is the one I start with. But it does have the lackluster approach to a lot of things. And it does build up a lot of lore. I do have to give it that. Season 5 though is where everything starts to finally click together. But we'll talk about that in just one second. Season 5 of Smallville. Now, Season 5 is the first one you guys are actually seeing the box art for, and that is because I already copied the first 4 seasons, so I didn't have them with me because I've been backing up all my DVDs. So as I was starting the production on this, the video you guys are watching, I didn't have the first 4 seasons. Sorry, I said three. First 4 seasons with me to take a picture of the box art. So you have the generic template, and I don't own season 8 at all. I've had to stream that through Hulu, by the way. The series is available on Hulu for you guys to go and watch. I highly suggest it. But yeah, season 5 is where we first get a lot of the elements of Jor-El, Krypton, coming in, as he doesn't know much about his heritage to this point. Lois Lane, we get a lot of her backstory, and we start adapting her. And this is where we pretty much get Lex Luthor's full turn to villainy. It's thoroughly entertaining. By the end of the series, Lex Luthor is pretty much the embodiment of Zod for a bit. We don't get the true General Zod for a long while. But yeah, no, it has a lot of elements from the comics and is starting to go a little more not high concept, but a lot more. I would hate to even say comic booky, but it's starting to feel a lot more like Superman is being born rather than just Clark Kent. And I thoroughly love it. We also get the introduction of several characters, we get Cyborg a little earlier. I forgot to mention he was one of the characters that appears fairly early on, and is actually a founding member of the Justice League in this world. Very, very interesting stuff. But we get Martian Manhunter in this season, and I absolutely loved Martian Manhunter, but I will be definitely talking about him in a later bonus segment. We're pretty much just going to be talking about all that in the very end. Well, not all the Justice League stuff. We'll get to that later. But yeah, season 5, very good. It starts to adapt a lot of elements from the books, but it still has its own spin on it. Very good. Very, very good. Season 6, by far, season 6 has to be one of my favorite seasons. Because, one, the drama elements come in so much stronger with Lex Luthor trying to redeem himself after seeing how much damage, everything can truly cause, and slowly starting to learn a little more about Superman, and Clark Kent's connection, but still not quite getting there. So that whole plot thread, the hell am I talking about? Plot thread is very, very well put together. We also get the adaptation of this world's Justice League, at least the first version put together by Green Arrow, which consists of Aquaman, Cyborg, Superman, and the Flash. The Flash is also one character that was fairly reoccurring, and this episode just brings in so many more elements other than just Superman and expands the world so much more. And the whole Lex Luthor redeeming factor is that is one of my favorite elements of this entire series, not just season 6. But we get a lot more. Like I said, this one expands everything so much more with the world. We also get a lot of really good plot threads with Lionel Luthor and Martha Kent, as Jonathan Kent had died in the previous season. I didn't talk about that. But yeah, no, season 6. It is amazing. I absolutely loved season 6. It holds the best spot in this series. The only other one that I really did think held a candle to it was season 8. because season 8 also had a lot more world. Sorry, not season 8, season 9 had a lot more world element building up. Season 8 tended to tighten the grip on the series, and refocus it again, and kind of get rid of the loose plot threads for good. Although that's what a lot of season 6 tried to do beforehand. But anywho, season 6 is amazing, and like I said, it tightens up a lot of things, and points it a little more towards Superman while still expanding the world quite well. Season 7 of Smallville is a strange season. It tries to adapt a ton of elements from the books, but puts almost too much spin on the elements. Supergirl is done alright. That's about the best one. Bizarro is weird, but it's really fun, honestly. It's a different take, and it fits a lot better in this world. It's not my favorite take. It just feels weird. It took a long time for me to start absolutely loving the Bizarro. I do see why I think that one was like the least best received part of the season. I remembered. I could be misremembering, but I remember a lot of people talking about it just poorly with Bizarro. We get a lot more with Superman and Lana, and the whole love triangle with Lana, Lex, and Superman, and all that. It's very interesting. And it adds some subplots to episodes which could use subplots to just kind of tone down certain scenes, so you get like really nice fast-paced scenes, and you get some slower emotional scenes to build up the characters' emotions and how they're feeling about the situation. It's really well written. It is probably the best written of all the seasons, and I absolutely love the fact we get a ton of Martian Manhunter in this season. You guys are hearing me talk a lot about Martian Manhunter, but he's also been one of my favorite characters in the series. This was the series that introduced me to him. It wasn't the books or anything like that. This was the first thing that I saw with him in it. And yeah, but we'll talk about that later. We're saving that. We'll put it on the table. Season 7, it's very well written. It has a lot of elements. It tried a lot of new things, and I can at least say it was experimental. Not everything worked for a lot of people. I didn't mind it. Not my favorite season, but I can at least appreciate it for experimenting. Not to mention Martian Manhunter. So I finally finished season 8. Sorry, it's been taking me. Well, I mean, you guys don't notice it, but it has been taking me a while to get through these episodes. But that's also because I'm watching it in a more comfortable pace than most. And season 8. God, it ends on a downer. Everybody's dead. I mean, it's Doomsday, and that was kind of what it was in the books. Well, I mean, quite literally, I guess it ends a little better than it was in the books, other than the fact that, Lois Lane is gone, Jimmy is dead. The whole Davis thing, though, was amazing build-up. Like, a lot of tension. You think of him as a nice human being, and, like, the twists and turns. As much as I really didn't like Doomsday when I first saw this, taking it in perspective now, all these years later, and I did watch this when it first came out when I was younger. So I was like, oh, Doomsday. What the hell? That's not Doomsday. Because I read the books and stuff, so I was like, oh, this just sucks. Yeah, I could see how people were like that during the time. I do remember that being a big thing. And Doomsday does kind of look a little underwhelming, but they were working on a smaller budget. So knowing that, taking everything into account, and with how bad CW Flash looks, Doomsday looks pretty damn cool. and we get the Justice League again. So there's still a Justice League. The whole Watchtower build up, awesome. Like, so many good character dynamics in this season. Sadly, not much Martian Manhunter. Not much Martian Manhunter at all. Um, but yeah, no, its recurring cast was amazing. We got a lot more details with you know, there was an episode. There was a lot more details with Green Arrow, and then there was an episode where it had the backstory of Lex Luthor, how he went bald and all that, and that's the backstory for Doomsday and a couple of more details. It was awesome, especially since at this point it's been a while since Lionel Luthor's death. So it was fun seeing the actor again. It was like, oh, cool, he's here, even if it's only for a couple minutes. It's really fun. I like it. There's a lot more human aspects in this season, trying to build up emotions, and its pacing is probably one of the not one of the best, but the pacing of its drama is amazing. It's like I'm gonna compare it to The Flash. And most of the modern CWs, the only one that I've seen come close has been Arrow in the drama dynamics. And we will be talking more about Arrow and its connections to this show in just a bit. But yeah, it's season 8. It's really, really good. It's not my favorite, but it's not as bad as people remember. Quite far from it. Smallville Season 9. While it's not my favorite of the seasons, it has my favorite episodes, which is the Justice Society of America. I was trying to think of the acronym. It's JSA, so Justice Society of America, with Hawkman, and it's awesome. We get a lot of Martian Manhunter and Hawkman and Green Arrow and Hawkman. Hawkman's banter with everybody is awesome. Dr. Fate being in it is also really badass. I love Dr. Fate. It kind of sucks that he dies in everything he's in. Other than Justice League, the Justice League cartoon. But it's cool he's there, and his costume is absolutely incredible. The costumes in this show are amazing. Especially if you're trying to go more practical looking, but still have enough of an homage. Almost like X3 style. With X-Men Last Stands kind of having the color palettes mixed in with the black suits. Except it's more vibrant with Smallville, but kind of same kind of idea. Yeah, Zod in this, okay. It's very okay. I'm not crazy about the design. The actor's performance was really well, but the whole back and forth of his allegiance and, getting his people on his side, his whole arrogance being his betrayal, it's okay. Yeah, the villain in this, I didn't quite care for Zod, so the whole build up through the season, going up and down, and my interest. This one is the hardest to hold any interest in, which is why this one took the longest to actually complete and watch. As well as working a lot more during when I was watching this season compared to the others, which is why this video has been taking so long. And I know I've said that in a lot of these parts because it's stitched together, which I've said multiple times as well. But yeah, this season's really good. The finale, the fight in the finale is amazing, and all the other subplots, amazing. The Wonder Twins appear, which is awesome. I love the Wonder Twins. I really wish we didn't lose the Wonder Twins movie. Yeah, no, it's a lot of really cool small callbacks in this season, but overall not my favorite because of the pacing. Yeah, season 6 the last two are my favorite, but this one's pretty dang good. So I just saw the final season 10 of Smallville. It was awesome. There are some things that bug me, like Darkseid's design was a little but that's TV budget constraints, and they had the excuse of it was his ghostly form. The whole thing of him taking over Lex's father was kind of cool. Um, everything, like all the adaptations, were really good for what the budget is. Budget constraints is probably the only thing holding this season back. Blue Beetle and Booster Gold were awesome. This season added a couple more to the league and mentioned the league a lot, but didn't really use the league in the finale at all. It was weird. I thought they would have appeared more. The whole thing with Lex's sister, very well paced. Lex coming back, and not so much. It was kind of crammed in the finale. I think if they slowly started building up a little more, it would have been a little more organic. Maybe like 30-second scenes and 2 episodes beforehand would have done the trick perfectly. But it's overall really, really good. The acting is top notch. Whole Dark Side bar. Let's just leave it at that. That was funny. This season had some pretty good jokes. I loved it. It was amazing. Um, yeah. It's so nice that we're finally nearly done with this. We still have the bonus content we're going to be looking over, such as season 11, the comic books, and the Aquaman spinoff that was failed, and its connections to Arrow. And Aquaman will be the picture used for those, just because I don't feel like separating them out with those two being such small topics. Yeah, it's a very good show. It is Superman's version of Gotham. In fact, I'd argue it's a little better than Gotham, considering it sticks a little closer to the books. But, that's half the fun with these adaptations. They don't have to. And this one has plenty of that. It was fun. It's a very, very good series. Very, very fun. It is exactly what I remember. I finally am done with Smallville. That comic book series was amazing. And I didn't realize that there was a big crisis event, which is kind of a little confusing with the whole CW thing. Although to be frank, I didn't watch all of that. I fell out of the CW/Arrowverse a while before. Yeah, it was good. Wonder Woman was kind of Batman amazing, and the whole introduction of Dick Grayson. Apparently, there's a lot of spin-offs with this one. I wasn't able to find him. I think that's for Titans and the other Lanterns. We had basic Green Lantern and Yellow Lanterns in the main series, but like the other Lantern Corps just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and a lot of the characters it didn't feel like they had a lot to do. So I bet you they had a lot more in the spin-offs. But as for the main series, each of them was it was very sectioned up really nice. Each section felt like about 1 to 2 episodes worth of content. Apparently, there was like a plot that was cut out of the comic story in ones, which is what I watched to get Smallville season 11. I can't find any of the spin-offs, so I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's for Titans and a lot of other things that just felt like they came out of nowhere or from. Yeah. Sets up a lot of things that could be really good. Other, spin-off books. I really hope that if they do an animated series, or when they do an animated series, it's hard to tell with the new James Gunn stuff. Especially after Flash. Yikes. Anywho, I mean, I love Flash, but still. Um, still. Yeah, Flash is another one. They introduced a lot of things, but didn't really do much with it. I was really thinking they were going to go with a Barry Allen story. They mentioned Barry and Jay. I mean, they had Jay, and they reintroduced a lot of the Justice Society pieces. Yeah, I honestly say if they want to adapt this TV show, not good, which is why it got turned into a book and then went a little crazier than the show, which makes sense. I mean, there's bigger power sets and bigger things at play. Love the adaptation of the characters. It feels a little more within the universe. Um, John has his full Martian form in this. And when I talk to the actor, which I have a whole bonus section in just a second, about what I was talking to the actor who plays Martian Manhunter. Yeah, he was amazing to meet. But I ramble on about that in just a little bit. As this is stitched together month to month to month, it's taken me way longer than I really wanted to. It was supposed to be released months ago as of the date this is coming out. Um, but yeah, so it got set for the 21st. Comic book was amazing. Love the adaptations, and I would highly recommend picking it up. I really hope they release a full form book, not just of each of the volumes, but like a nice big $50-$60 book. I would love to buy that. Um, Great stuff. And if they include the spin-offs, amazing. But they don't have that so far, which kind of sucks because I can't find it at any of my local stores. But I love Smallville. This was great. It was amazing to go back to this series, and I really hope I can do this with other shows. Uh, it's a longer form of content, especially with shows that I watched when I was younger. I'm really hoping to do that. Maybe when the new X-Men series comes out, after I watch and do a review on just the basic new episodes, I'll do a retrospective on that. That would be fun. Anywho, just tossing out ideas, and I really enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoy this too. This is one of the videos that I've been doing the most with and put the most effort in. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. In the height of Smallville's popularity, they tried greenlighting a couple of different shows. Wonder Woman coming the closest, that was after Smallville's run had ended. And the most well known is Aquaman. There have been a couple of times this pilot has been released. One is the TV, which is how I have a copy of it. We had a VHS recording that was translated to DVD and then onto computer. It sounds complicated. It is complicated. Not really worth it. It's not very good. It tries to establish Mira and a couple other characters that were later actually established in Smallville. It tried to have a whole high school years thing. Like, I don't even think high school. So he already went to the high school with Clark at that point. It was trying to be a spinoff. They couldn't get the actor who played Aquaman on board. He didn't like the script, if I remember right. And yeah, it wasn't very good. It was focusing way too much on the high school elements in the pilot and didn't have a lot of its action elements baked into the pilot. Not to mention, Aquaman at that point was still a joke. Hell, to this day, he's still pretty much a joke. Jason Momoa tried to get him a little less to be a joke, but yeah. Closest we ever got was Hook Waterhand in the 90s. Even that's kind of a joke. The other part was Arrow. This did actually come out, but by the time it was released, they had The Flash, which had nothing to do with Smallville. They already had Flash in production. Either that or it was reverse. I'm not exactly sure. But point being, Arrow was originally supposed to be tied to Smallville and was going to be the backstory of that Green Arrow, but just like with Aquaman, when they couldn't get the original Green Arrow actor to come back on board, they had to cast a new one. They were still originally going to be having it be a spin-off of Smallville, but later decided to scrap it and go for their own take and start their own CW universe, which did eventually feature Smallville in the Crisis on Earth special, along with the movie Flash, which at this point, by the time this is coming out, the movie's already come out, so yeah. Surprised he didn't have a cameo. Just wanted to say that in this piece right here. That's about it. Two very brief, three very, very brief things. Arrow succeeded, but kind of went in its own direction. Aquaman didn't succeed past the pilot. Wonder Woman nearly came close, but production budget was way too much over cost. So, let's talk about Martian Manhunter. I absolutely I'm a huge fan. He is one of my favorite DC characters in general, and I also got to meet the actor who played him. I got him to sign my Funko Pop as well, and he was really fun to talk to. He gave me a lot more insight on how Martian Manhunter worked in the series. The main thing we were talking about was the makeup. The makeup on the character was not introduced. He would have loved to do it. He loves the original design, and that it's like it was awesome to talk to him about all this. Um, he is a really fun person to talk to. It was worth every penny for the signature and the picture. Um, I absolutely loved it. I had a great time. I saw him at Comic Con. I've been talking about this a lot in a lot of videos that I've been recording during this time. Um, but that's also because I've been rewatching Smallville, and everything has just, you know, after taking a break with everything, my whole horizons feel like I can expand and go crazy and actually have fun with these topics again, rather than feeling choked by everything. And a lot of my passion was brought back from just talking to him and finding out about the whole thing. He would love to have done it, but it was just the creators in the series didn't think it'd be well received. They thought it would be a little too much, and by the time they didn't think it'd be too much, it was it'd feel weird. And I can completely get that, especially during the time. This is same time around like X-Men and all that, and this is on TV and it's through drama. Yeah, it kind of sucks though. I would have loved to see him. I think there have been some shots where he had full makeup. It is later season if it is, because as I'm recording this segment, I haven't watched season 8 fully. I'm in the middle of that one, 9, 10, and I haven't done my piece on 11 or the Aquaman spinoff quite yet. But yeah, it was awesome getting to meet him. And it's really cool to hear that there was still a lot of fans. They were just worried about reception because they didn't want to, go to kind of like what Marvel was really trying to do with when the Avengers first came out. I don't want to distract by talking about the Avengers, but yeah. Now, he was my first introduction to the character of Martian Manhunter. After that, it was Justice League Heroes for PS2. And I have just loved the character ever since. In the cartoons and all that, I've found him such an intriguing character. If I got to talk to him a little more, I would have probably talked to him about my ideas for a Martian Manhunter movie. I would love to see a movie about him and the Blackhawks in the middle of a war. And like there's some sort of prejudice in the ranks. Um, and Martian Manhunter disguises himself as each person to try to understand them and humans more because he was just brought on by the Blackhawks after he was discovered. And it can't because the Blackhawks, most of them are good people at heart, is what he's supposed to learn, and but they don't work together. They all feel something towards this alien because he can be any of them, but the higher ranks are what has more prejudice. I honestly would love to get like the the one with dog welder and dog welder and Six Pack, and then Martian Manhunter and the Blackhawks. Those are the characters I would love to work with if I ever worked with DC. Um, yeah, I just it was a joy meeting him. It was a joy getting to talk, and it kind of reignited my passion, my spirit for doing all this stuff. This is sort of just just a slight thank you message. Um, it'd be awesome if he was watching this. I didn't tell him about the actual channel. Um, I was talking to him about the doing a retrospective. But yeah, no, it was awesome getting to meet him and talk to him about Smallville and all that makeup and different experiences he's had with the different makeup and whether he would want to do the Martian Manhunter makeup. Uh, I loved it. I hope you guys really, well, it's not over. I'm gonna put the Aquaman segment after this one. I know it's edited in one video, so you guys are hearing me overly ramble. I'm sorry about that. I just really wanted to share this experience and give a little more insight because it's always nice to learn these sorts of things, especially straight from the horse's mouth. Um, yeah, it was amazing.